was July of 2011, the day I saw that horrible tape. That awful, godforsaken, horrible tape. It had so many fucked up satanic references in it. It was just sick. It was messed up. I would give anything to have gone back in time and told myself to avoid looking at the tape. But it was no use. I made my bed, and now I had to lie in it. The title screen was the one thing that had gotten me the most. Here's how it began. It was probably one of the most obscure things I had ever seen. The title card read, Winnie the Pooh and the Dying Party. Its background was red-toned, and Pooh was behind a title card, looking like an unshaved, disgusting homeless man. His normally adorable-looking appearance was now that of a long-haired bear. After 1 minute of Pooh staring at you like a perverted fuck, it panned to the next setting, the woods. The narrator spoke like something out of an old World War II narrative. He said, "The year is 1978. The world owed its will to Pooh. Pooh will proceed to enjoy every ounce of pain he will give us, completely tired of the filth that we have brought upon him." I was laughing a bit at that whole narration, but the way the man was speaking sounded serious. And of course, because of it, I wound up going back to being serious as well. Piglet and Eeyore were walking near a river and saw a pile of rocks. When they approached the rocks, they saw a boy lying in the water face down, not moving a single inch. He looked almost lifeless. Piglet touched the boy's head to see if he was okay. Then with no alarm, the boy grabbed Piglet by the neck and yelled, "Run away! The dark side will take us all!" Eeyore then bit the boy's hand, causing the boy to let go of Piglet's neck. After running back into the forest, all the animals were gathered up except for Pooh. Christopher Robin is missing as well. There was no note or anything except for, well, something along the lines that one of the characters had picked up. I couldn't exactly tell what it was, but apparently it had a distinct smell. The smell of sweat and anger rushed around the tree where the thing was. Then it cut to Pooh and Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin was tied up, naked except for a small leaf covering his private areas. Then Pooh walked slowly and came to Christopher Robin's with a large branch from a tree covered with bugs. Christopher was crying and yelling, "Why, Pooh? Why?" But Pooh was unfazed. Pooh then proceeded to urinate on the branch, compound it with some dead butterflies, vermin, and his own spit. He had the back sharpened to the point where it looked like a spike. Pooh raised the bark and pierced Christopher Robin's bottom, violating him with the sharpest torture instrument. Christopher Robin's tears and all over agonizing screams were music to Pooh's ears. All the boy felt was being violated by, well, getting splinters in his, well, rectum. He knew he couldn't escape subconsciously. He pretended to die so he wouldn't have to feel the pain ever again. After a while, we see Piglet talking to Tigger about the boy they discovered previously. Tigger said, "I think I saw Christopher Robin with Pooh, but Pooh was walking with a stick and the boy was crying. I think Christopher Robin got a splinter somewhere and Pooh got it out. That's very kind of him." Piglet and Tigger were smiling wide-eyed and happy, but they were oblivious as to what was really going on. It then cut back to Pooh whipping Christopher Robin with the same bark he had previously violated him with. The pain brought Christopher Robin to the point of passing out. When Pooh was finished, he licked the tip like an ice cream cone and started saying a heart-stopping chanting piece from the Satanic Bible. "We only have lived for so long, and you have to live it to the fullest." "I'm sorry, Christopher Robin, but you make me full. Now I need your blood more than ever," Pooh said, raising the stick and jamming it into Christopher's neck. Then poor Christopher felt his heart being poked by the stick while choking. He could have easily died right then and there. "He died peacefully," Pooh announced. He then raised the dead corpse and then proceeded to throw it down to the ground. Piglet heard Pooh yelling, but could make out what he was saying. Tigger then said, "I'll check on him." Tigger was still happy after thinking that Pooh had helped Christopher Robin with a splinter ordeal, but as he discovered later, he'd be dead wrong. After being all shocked, it then went to the next chapter. Chapter 2 began with the vicious slaughtering of Christopher Robin. Tigger went to go see why Pooh had yelled. He went to the trees where he thought it originated from but saw nothing. Not a thing. He wandered through the forest, aimlessly until night fell, though he couldn't see Pooh because it was so dark. He heard him. The sound of Pooh moaning and groaning from the business attracting Tigger's attention. After groping around the dark like a blind man, Tigger found Pooh. Tigger was bathed in the moonlight. Pooh could see him, but Tigger couldn't. "Pooh, where have you been?" said Tigger worriedly. Then Pooh raised his hands, clawing Tigger's eyes and mutilating his chest. Tigger was on the forest floor bleeding profusely. If Pooh's fleeting soul surfaced momentarily, he would have cried over how much this poor friend was suffering and helped him. But the old Pooh he knew was gone forever. Pooh raised his eyes murderously, exposing himself and grabbing Tigger's nose, pulling really hard. Poor Tigger's nose began to bleed severely. After 30 seconds, his nose was ripped off and Pooh ate it like gum. He was chewing loudly as Tigger started to vomit violently while having very bad stomach pains. "I can't trust you. Not at all," said Pooh. "Why, Pooh? I thought you were a happy bear. You were so sweet. You would have never hurt anyone. Christopher didn't do anything to you. He was just a child. I miss the old Pooh. We all miss you. You don't have to do this, Pooh." Tigger wept. For that brief moment, Pooh's adorable little childlike spirit surfaced. He felt his heart hurt, and he began to cry. You're right, Tigger. I would have never hurt anyone. I never meant to hurt Christopher Robin, Piglet, or even any of my friends," Pooh said through the tears. He was feeling genuine remorse. He tended to Tigger and fixed the wound on his face where his nose was. "I'm so sorry, Tigger. I didn't mean to hurt you. Will you ever forgive me?" Pooh asked, tears running down his face as he pulled his buddy close and hugged him tightly. They both wept like little children who had skinned their knees. What I saw was enough to take my mind off of the grisly carnage I had happened to witness. It was a montage of Pooh, Eeyore, Piglet, Tigger, Rabbit, Christopher Robin, and all the gang playing, having happy times together. Pooh being his sweet, joyful, cheerful self, eating from a jar of honey like a little baby. Because that's what Pooh was, a little baby at heart. I smiled, but at the same time cried my eyes out because this was the real Pooh. The montage continued with the song by Boys Will Be Men, It's Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, playing in the background. The montage ended with Piglet saying to Pooh, "I love you, Pooh," along with the gang giving Pooh a hug. I bawled more because it was just so sweet. However, that good feeling wound up. The nightmare returned again. Pooh's sweet childlike soul flew away, and all of a sudden Pooh went back to his ways. He then grabbed the rest of Tigger's fur, pulling great chunks out of his back. Then he yanked Tigger's tail out with great force, followed by a gush of blood squirting everywhere. Tigger died a horrible, painful death, but Christopher Robin had a more sickening one. The next morning, Piglet was looking for Eeyore and Tigger, who went out to see what had happened to Pooh. "Oh my goodness!" Piglet saw Eeyore dead, with his genitals cut off and stuffed into his now empty eye socket. But there was no eyes in either socket. He was eviscerated, his insides exposed along with the still beating heart. Eeyore sprung to life and turned to Piglet saying, "Leave the forest. Pooh's the one He was cut off mid-sentence and fell silent. Eeyore's guts spilled out while pulling his heart with extreme force. Eeyore died along with Christopher Robin and Tigger. Piglet heard someone screaming. It was Rabbit. Pooh was proceeding to violate Rabbit while forcing Owl to watch. Rabbit was on all fours, and Pooh raised his hand and shoved his whole fist into Rabbit's rear end, only to tear out Rabbit's heart. Pooh felt Rabbit in such pain, and with satisfaction dove his fist again, but this time he proceeded to break Rabbit's spine. The final scene itself, it was Pooh looking around, and he found a spider. "Oh, a black widow." He picked it up and put it on Owl's nose and waited for the spider to do her duty, but quickly got up and bolted the door, leaving Owl tied up alone in the dark with the spider making its way into his head. The black widow laid eggs into his brain, and the little spider started eating the insides of Owl's head. Then Piglet saw Pooh walking towards him and stood still. "Pooh, where have you been?" said Piglet. "I was just cleaning up the mess," Pooh replied in a childlike voice. Pooh had heard Rabbit had the head of Rabbit's body parts in one of his hands and a knife in the other. And then it cut to black, revealing the show's credits. There wasn't really much else. And after the really short credits played, it left me in 10 minutes of pure blackness. Then I hearing Pooh talking in a weird way, with some kind of laughter in the background. I could have sworn for a split second I saw a picture of Pooh and Piglet performing some kind of disgusting sexual act. It nearly made me want to puke. Then Piglet started to whisper, "I don't think I feel safe. We should all die together. Don't look at me. Please, help me. Please." Then it ended, and had a weird text saying, "The dark side has taken you." Then my TV proceeded to show static, signaling that the VHS tape had ended. I also remember something. Earlier in the tape, Pooh had whispered something. I grabbed my camera and recorded what Pooh had said. Pooh had said, I remembered my birthday. It was 9 years old in November." I quickly grabbed the camera and did some editing tricks. However, I could really find nothing. I didn't know what to think. I don't think I'm safe. I don't think I'll ever be safe. Why? Just why did this happen? Why poor Winnie? Why him? And that, my little shadows, was Winnie the Pooh 666. A Winnie the Pooh Lost Episode Creepypasta. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I have to be honest here. That genuinely scared me. I get it that the story itself was extremely cliched and shit, but I got such a huge chill from that. And not in a good way, either. Like, I'm being frank when I say this, people, that this story scared me in all the wrong ways. And you know what's scary? I remember reading this story many years back. And I actually think I remember trying to look for the story, but I could never find it. And I finally managed to find it again. This story is an old one, people. This one's from 2011. Oh my god, people. Like I said, this thing scared the shit out of me. I mean, I'm sitting right here in the dark right now, and I mean, I'm shaking. I'm quite literally shaking. This was probably the freakiest thing I've read so far. I mean, and I know, it's cliched, it's a lot of these things, but, I mean, just visualizing all of that fucked up shit is just like, what? I mean, if I had to give something with the story, it did it. This story managed to scare the hell out of me. That's precisely what the story did. It scared me. I'm quite literally terrified because of this story. And it's a cliche one. I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, maybe the reason it's scaring me is because of the fact that it's been such a long time since I've last read this story. And it's 2019, and I'm finally reading this. It took me 8 years. 8 years of my life to finally find the story again. And now that I'm reading it, I'm like, what the fuck did I read? Like, genuinely speaking, I'm actually, like I said, I'm terrified. I mean, we have the satanic imagery. We have all this crazy stuff. We have Pooh literally going fucking nuts, killing his friends, and there's not much of a reason for it. I mean, we have a bunch of other... there was even parts I couldn't even say. I actually could not actually say any of the things there, because, like I said, I do not want to get my channel terminated or anything because of this. But people, my God, this was crazy. I mean, credit where credit is due for scaring the shit out of me with the story, but still. I mean, that right there, people, is a shock. Normally I'd be ranting about how bad the story is, but for some reason I can't. This entire thing managed to terrify the hell out of me. And I don't know why. Oh, God. Ugh. And that's really saying something, because I'm a Satanist myself. I'm a spiritual Satanist. And I've seen plenty of satanic imagery. And that's not what's bothering me. It's the fact of the matter that the story itself is just so fucked up and screwed up to the point where I don't even know what I don't know. I don't know, people. This is freaky. This is terrifying. I'm not even going to say what my own personal opinion, because I'm quite sure many of you already agree with me. This genuinely terrified me. I don't know why, but it did. Hopefully I never have to read this story again. I'm probably going to have nightmares now because of this. And that's saying a lot. Oh, God. Okay, what did you... I don't even know. My rating, I don't know what to rate this. I mean, you know what? Screw the rating. I'm not rating any of this. You guys give your own ratings, because honestly, I can't think right now. I don't know what in the world to narrate, to freaking rate this story. So, all of you, rate the story for me, please. What did you guys think about this pasta? Did you guys enjoy it somewhat? Did you guys not? Were you freaked out and practically traumatized like I am? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. I'm the Shadow Reader. Thanks again for watching this episode, and like always, roll the outro because I'm out. In fear and surprise as your eyes widen, your mouth goes dry with each battered breath. You try to scream, your mind begs to leave. Glued to your computer screen, the killers they slash, the tapes burn and crash. The cartridge you bought will be your final haunt. The rituals of hate will seal your fate. The tears you shed will be from the fear-gripping horde-driven nightmarish gore-filled, terrorizing, hateful, burning, violent, rage-inducing, knife-slashing, blood-splattering, silent screams. Only time will tell if you will escape this online hell. Your horror-filled obsessions will come with its own regressions. Your pathetic screams will not be heeded in any way, because your nightmares will come at any day.